Good afternoon, everybody, on this beautiful day. It is October 23rd, 2024. We will start our City Commission meeting. Let's start with a roll call, please.
Mayor Skidmore.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Allen.
Present.
Commissioner Kaler.
Present.
Commissioner Clayton.
Present.
And Commissioner Crowley.
Okay, we do have a quorum, and we want to welcome everybody here as well as watching on social media. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed with an invocation by Pastor Greg Hall from Life Mission Church.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again, Commission, for the opportunity to pray. With that, let's pray. Lord, we are so grateful for today, the blessings that you've given us. We thank you that in your word, it teaches us that blessed are those, God, that don't look to their own wisdom, their own abilities, but who look to you. So we thank you for this promise, and I pray your blessing over this commission, God, who I know strives to make good decisions, the best possible decisions, to be a blessing to this community that you love very much. God, I pray your blessing over them, that you would lead and guide them, that you would give them wisdom from heaven, Lord, to make decisions that will honor you and that will be a great blessing to this community. We thank you for your presence with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate that. We'll start with any public comments if we have any.
We have none registered.
Unregistered, okay. And nothing on item 7, so we'll go on to item 8, which would be the consent agenda, minutes from the October 9th meeting, October 16th, and the July 16th, is that right? Oh, we made advisory board meeting, oh, that's right, it was on there, and September 2024 financial report. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a second on this?
I will second.
There's a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Move on to the declaration. At this time, I'd like to give the commissioners a chance to declare any conflict or communication they've had that might influence their ability to consider today's issues impartially. Hearing none, moving on to item 10, no unfinished business. We'll go on to item 11. A review for the monthly reports for September 2024. Looks like Franklin County Development Council. Is Paul here today?
Paul is not here today.
He's not. Okay. We'll move on to the Audible Library, Executive Director Cartier. Right.
Good afternoon. I wanted to give you an update on a few things that we have going on. O-Town Reads, we have selected our 2025 O-Town Reads book. This will be our 10th year of O-Town Reads, so we're very excited about that. We are going to announce that on December 6th at a chamber coffee, and we will hand out approximately 500 books to the community to read. And then in January and February, we will have programs to support the themes and topics of that book. I also wanted to let you know that we are going to have our first annual Festival of Wreaths, which is a fundraiser for our capital improvement account. And what that is we've asked individuals and businesses to donate wreaths or centerpieces, and they will be on display at the library from November 20th through December 6th. December 6th, people who come to the chamber coffee can view those items. There will be silent auction bid sheets for those items. And then December 6th in the evening, we will give those items to the winners. And we'll have a reception and snacks that evening. The other thing that we have finally made public is that we were awarded 70/30 tax credits from the Kansas Community Service Tax Credit. And we were awarded $166,600, which will net us $238,000 into our endowment fund. And we're busy selling those and getting donations for our endowment fund. So if you're interested or know of anybody that's interested, we would love to talk to them. We need to get them all sold by December 2025.
Fantastic.
Any questions?
So Terry, excited to see. Good job.
Thank
Thanks very
you.
much for your report. We'll move on to the Ottawa Main Street. Director Stauffer is here. Sarah.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to be short. Good afternoon. A few updates I have for you guys. The state Main Street program is now requiring us to do some more reporting, a little more detail of things. But what that means is that we're getting a little more glance at what we're doing and getting a report. So for third quarter, I can report that we had over 8,000 attendance in our events downtown. Our volunteer hours, we had over 510 hours in volunteer. For our little group of organization, that is quite a few that we're kicking out. We've had one new business, the Ice Cream House. We've had 2 businesses move. We've had 4 close, but we also have 3, possibly 4 in the works of opening. So lots of change and movement, but good things. The common consumption has continued to be positive. We're being reached out to be asking to open it up. I've been working with Melissa hand in hand continuously to open this up almost every weekend, it seems like. People with class reunions coming in from, we're not going to say the years, but it was a dry county. Whenever they were here, they're like, we can walk around with alcohol. So we're moving up in the world, is what they are telling us. So upcoming events, we have the Boo Bash, which is a trick-or-treating downtown this weekend from 10 to noon. Last year we had 1,800 plus kids trick-or-treating downtown, so it's a fun event. And then we have the costume contest at Legacy Square following at noon. So we're in full planning of the fourth quarter holiday season and working on Christmas parade and having a Whoville themed downtown. So that's all I have.
Great. Any questions, Sarah?
I don't have a question, but I have just a comment. I was able to enjoy the common consumption area one weekend when it was open, and I don't know why it feels so different, but it is really great to be able to go down, for example, we went to Corner Market, grabbed a beverage, and then walked around while the kids ran in stores and were able to shop around, and it just felt relaxing and it felt really nice. So thank you for your effort in making that happen.
Thank you. It's been a team effort for sure.
Great. I saw you attended a seminar or went to another city. Can you tell a bit about that recently?
I have been all over. I actually just got back in town. So last week was in Des Moines, Iowa and Nevada doing a transformational strategy workshop through the National Main Street program. I was awarded a grant scholarship program to pay for me to go to that. That was interesting, educational. I'm excited to bring back implementation from that. And then Ottawa is actually from Nationals is in February going to be doing a walkthrough with us and doing a transformational strategy workshop with us personally in the community. Then this week I just got back. I've been attending the tourism conference in Olathe, Overland Park. So got a lot of educational there on World Cup as well. So excited to keep that moving forward.
Well, I was thinking that Piccadilly auction idea came from another city too, didn't it? Where was that?
It was a national conference. Somebody had thrown it out there. They did it a little bit different, but we already have our MC, and May 4th is the date for that this year.
Fantastic. That'd be great. Looking forward to that. That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Yep. Oh, Sarah, one more thing too. I didn't see any balance sheet. I saw the flow of funds, but no balance sheet with your report.
Okay,
so
I can send
that
over.
Yeah.
And it's how she's reporting it. I need to figure out. It's attaching our IWWs to that, and she's trying to figure out how to unattach that because we don't want the names out there publicly for who's got those. So that's the process on that right now.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Director Cowie, Prairie Pause here.
Hello, good afternoon. I just have a couple updates. One of them is super exciting. We paid off our mortgage. Yay, right? I knew someone would be pumped. Happy birthday for whenever that is.
Right. You two should burn that mortgage.
Yeah, it was, one of us had a drink that night. It was super exciting. So that mortgage obviously has been in place since that facility was constructed and that land was acquired. But it had been extended one time to add that driveway. We have a really nice driveway. And so that mortgage was kind of extended to add that, and we've been able to satisfy that. So we are officially debt free. So we're not using donated dollars or tax dollars to pay interest anymore, and so it feels great. So that's really exciting. And then the other thing is we have our comedy night coming up on November 15th at the OMA. Skidmore is not performing that night, so
you can't afford me.
We can't. They're volunteer comics, so yeah. But you can purchase tickets on the OMA's website to come to that, and that's our next fundraiser that we're doing. So
Fantastic.
that was all I had.
I did see you had a grant to buy a third vehicle, so next time I see that word grant, I think that's a great way to go. So tell us about that. And where is that being used and how?
Yeah, that's actually staying in Franklin County. So we've purchased 2 vehicles with that grant. We received that grant in December, and we've been spending it all year. And so we just got our 3rd used vehicle, but new to us, and it just got the decals put on it today. So we just picked it up. So you'll see that one driving around.
Good.
Yeah.
And I see you're profitable. I see you're even better than what you budgeted. So that's always a good sign too. If you can do better than what your budget projected, that's always a good sign too. So you're
Yeah.
doing something great.
In categories we weren't expecting. So we underperform in some areas and overperform in others. But yeah, it's all working out.
That's good. And then Manhattan Emporia still working well?
Yes, Manhattan doing the best right now.
Okay, good.
They've really increased the capacity of animals that they're helping. So we're writing a grant to add more dog kennels out at that location because they're able to move dogs very quickly through that facility because of their population. If they only had 4 or 5 more dog kennels, they could actually save hundreds more animals with just a few more kennels because of the volume they do. So that's our next big focus.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, good work. Any more questions of Vanessa? Keep up the good work.
I want to comment that I'm proud of you for paying off that mortgage. I was actually on the B. Martin Peck Animal Shelter Board of Directors when we built that building.
Oh.
So that is a few years ago. So, and what an accomplishment. Good
Yeah,
job.
it feels great.
Yes.
It feels really good.
That's
Yeah.
great. Great to both of you. That's good job. So, all right, Vanessa, thank you.
Thanks.
Before we, let's see, I guess we got the third quarter reports, and so we'll look at department directors submitted reports for third quarter. Do anybody have any questions specifically on any of those reports?
Is Diana Ross coming to the auditorium? I mean, she.
Diana, who?
Okay.
That was her stand-in.
Okay, just making sure I didn't miss her.
Her in person.
Yeah. Okay. Well, kind of hard to see that after. Wow. Okay. Awesome. No. Good job.
Any other questions? I had a couple on the financial report. These are just some lighthearted questions, so nothing significant. But I was wondering on the debt service fund. This is on page 18, I guess. Go back to that. I know we've already approved this, all this, but I just had a couple of questions. I saw like on the debt service fund that we're 75% through the year, but we've spent 97% of the money. I assume we don't have any or very little fourth quarter debt to pay off for debt service.
So the reason why we're at 97% on the budget spent for that debt service fund is that we do payments twice a year, April 1st and then October 1st. And obviously we paid them
That's
a few
already
days
covered.
early. So it hit the end of September to make sure they were on time.
The timing on that. Good.
So that's why it's just the debt payments for the general obligation bonds.
Okay, and I did see the Coves, we got that paid off in full, looks like, so we're
Yes.
paid that loan off too, so we can burn those, both those mortgages might be at the same party, so let's plan that together. That's a good sign too, on that Coves get that paid. But what was the source of that to pay that off? Did we get from this, did we have enough from the sale of the property, or was it some other source, do you recall?
That was just property tax at large paid for that.
All right. And then also I see where you got some overnight money at Oak Star Bank and versus KMEP. I see they're a little bit better rate. That's kind of a new thing too. You want to talk about?
Yeah, so we have a money market account at Oakstar. I put it in the overnight because it does monthly distributions of interest, so it seems comparable. Not quite the same term, but same payout ratio. So there's funds that there's amount that's at the physical bank here in town, and then there's some that are in Cedars. So I do have that broke out just for full transparency.
Good. Looks good to me. I get a rate for that overnight money. And then as far as recent long-term purchases of any instruments, what kind of rate are we looking at today? And
So we had a bid come in last week,
okay,
but the rates were still best short term.
okay,
But we are regularly bidding out funds. Just about every 2 weeks I send out just to kind of keep tabs on it and make the move as quick as possible.
great. Yeah, I know that short-term rates kind of went down, but things are kind of popping back up a little bit. Good to see that up there. So like seeing our investment revenue looking as good as it is. So keep up the good work, ladies.
We're
Great job.
trying.
Mayor, I might actually go back to, you asked about the debt payment for the Coves. When we did do the sale of that property, that money was all transferred in to be used for those
this.
payments towards that
Okay, I
that
kinda thought that
geo
was the
bond.
case.
So while I don't know exactly which physical dollar made the final payment, they are in there, and so it did go towards the final payment over the last.
Obviously, didn't have to
2
pay it
years.
until it was due then. Good.
Yes.
All right, good job. Thank you. Any more questions anybody have on any other departments? I had one on the fire department. I see we had some repairs done to our building foundation. Is that something, Stuart, you want to talk about or address? I just saw some pictures in the report. Looks like we were working on our foundation at the fire department.
Yes, good afternoon. Yeah, we did get that project done on that west wall. Dug down and found some holes and patched everything up and put weatherproofing on it. Put a sump pump out there, try to keep the water away, and then they also fixed the sidewalk. So hopefully nobody trips.
We're getting water in the basement, I guess, at one time.
We were, yes. Yeah, we'll see the next time it rains.
Be a good test. Hopefully, we may get some rain soon, so let's test it. All right. Just want to check on that. Thanks, Stuart. And Chief White, yeah. Adam, I've got some questions here on the police report. I just was noticing that maybe you'd like to talk about this, but the crime trend in 5 years is going the right direction. It's going down. Can you give us some reasons what's attributable to that? And whatever you're doing good. So tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. We track crime over a five-year trend, and in this 5-year period, the FBI has changed the categories which they're tracking. So previously, they were called Part 1 crimes. Now they're called Group A, Group B. It all means about the same thing for our tracking purposes, but probably over the next few years, we'll see some changes in how we do that. The bottom line is this, that the number of thefts, the number of auto thefts, and the number of burglaries generally drive the crime rate in Ottawa. We have such low homicide, robbery, assaults of other types that just a couple differences may show a large percentage increase, but the overall number isn't. And recently, the work that we've been doing with Walmart loss prevention teams and the use of our license plate readers to detect and identify shoplifting in our South End business district for retail theft really has driven down that total number, which is where you see the huge representative of decrease in crime over especially this year compared to last, and just that overall crime trend. I'm hoping that a lot of the messaging that we put out there about lock your cars, don't leave valuables in your cars, don't leave firearms unsecured in your cars, and lock your house up, and the use of our vacation watch list is helping kind of educate the community about the importance that, yes, even in little old Ottawa, Kansas, if you leave your car unlocked, somebody might break into it and steal your stuff. So hopefully those messages are resonating, and we'll continue to push that out. And again, I'll plug our community crime map, where if you want to track and see what's going on, to track these trends almost at a daily time, you can go to our website and look at that map.
I see that on page 90 here. It's a snapshot tracking what we're talking about here. And it shows different crimes, different parts of town, I guess, right? So is that updated daily, you say, or how?
It is updated daily. The information is updated on the server every 24 hours.
That's great.
And that map is just kind of a heat map, which shows you an area of the community where more calls are generated than other parts of the community.
Great. I like that technology. That's great. Anybody have any more questions of the police chief?
Actually, I had questions of Assistant Director Wolzen, please.
Okay. You're back up again. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Sorry, Adam. Not that I didn't. Stuart, on your third quarter report, it appears as though your calls for service has exceeded your calls for service in 2023. What can you contribute that to?
So I haven't actually looked at the report. I'm filling in for Sean today as he had a thing.
That's cool.
So can you repeat that again?
It says that year to date, you had under like 14, I mean, it doesn't say exactly, but 1,400 and some calls for service last year. But this year we've already exceeded that, and we're over 1,500, close to 1,600. And that was when this was written for this particular report. Obviously, it's exceeded that. I'm just wondering if you're noticing any trends or any changes that are happening within the fire department or the calls for service that you're receiving that would, kind of alert the population to changes that may be happening in our community.
We're looking at falls. I know our Captain Wilson is looking at those specifically and how we can reduce those. As to, can we narrow it down to one? I don't think we can narrow it down to one type of call that we're running more. Just across the board, we're running everything more.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, thank you for doing that. I know you're not doing, you've got the same amount of staff and the same amount of resources, so you're doing more with just the same amount of resources. So thank
yes.
you.
Okay, anybody have any more questions on the reports? If not, we'll move on to item C.
Golf cart request for proposals.
Request to authorize city manager Silcott to enter an agreement regarding leasing golf carts. And Director Landis.
Thank you. I haven't used the new one. I apologize. All right. So, where we are in our golf course management transition plan is that we needed to be able to, in order to be able to function and open in January under the city, we needed to purchase or lease purchase golf carts. And so we did put out the RFP earlier this month. We gave them a couple of weeks to respond, and we got back 2 responses. There are basically 3 representatives or 3 types of golf cart representation in Kansas that we would have expected to get from. So getting 2 bid proposals was a good return on that. We did just open these on Monday, so I apologize that the information wasn't in your packet when it came out at the end of last week, but we were working to get that turned around fairly quickly for you. So our RFP included the request for a 4-year lease purchase bid proposal for 20 gas-powered golf carts with some options that we specifically outlined in the proposal. We did receive 2 proposals back, one from M&M Golf Carts out of Topeka and one from Massac Golf Cart Company, and I believe that they're out of Nebraska. Our evaluation criteria was, of course, the cost and delivery time being really important to us, although both were able to at least guarantee that we would have some carts. Whether or not they were the brand new carts, they couldn't necessarily absolutely guarantee that those would be the case, but at least they would be able to work with us to make sure they were available by the end of the year. And based on all of the information that we reviewed, we are recommending that we go with a proposal prepared by M&M Golf Carts. The financial consideration is that, or the analysis we did is that for the 20 golf carts, the total amount under their bid proposal is just roughly $16,000. We had budgeted $24,000 just based on some very preliminary information that we had early on in the season about what to expect for a golf cart lease. And so we were thrilled that at least it was under what we had budgeted for. And their bid was actually just about $5,000 less than the second bid that we received as well. In addition to that, there will be a maintenance agreement, and they did provide us a couple of options for that maintenance agreement. So I cannot tell you exactly which one we are going to select right now. We may try to work that into what we need in years 1 and 2 versus what we need in years 3 and 4, but they range from anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000 per year for the maintenance agreement. City Attorney Finch will work with us, and he's already reviewed some of the lease documents. It's the lease documents, the warranty information, the maintenance agreement. So there's a myriad of documents that have to be worked through in order for us to actually get an order made. And we wanted to be able to get this in front of you so that we could potentially get an approval so that we could start entering into those negotiations and final contract agreements. So our recommendation would be that you take final action to authorize city staff to complete the negotiations and execute the agreements that are related to the proposal received from M&M Golf Carts for the golf cart lease package. Happy to answer any questions you have.
I guess what we will do, we will charge the people to use the carts, and so there'll be kind of a pass-through. It'll be somewhere in net income on this thing, or break even. What are we shooting for?
Well, our carts. Prices will be in an effort to exceed our cost for the carts, and it's a revenue generating business. You know, that type of the business, and the fee structure will, our goal would be to earn more than what we're spending on them.
There we go. Very well capitalistic say it. I like that. Thank you.
Director Landis, do you know how many carts they have now?
I believe they have 20 now.
Okay, so we're just replacing the 20?
Yes, and actually, we did ask for them to also give us an alternative option to get more carts when needed. And we estimated that we may need between 14 and 18 carts per additional tournament, or per tournament, to make sure that we have them on hand and enough available for any tournament. And so they did give us that bid. I believe it was $55 per cart per day. And so what we'll do is work that into our agreement to make sure that those are available to us. Something they mentioned was that they are one of very few places that do have the available carts. So once we do get our event calendar put together for the year, which will likely happen in December once we have our new manager on board, then we would want to go ahead and start reserving those for events should we need them ahead of time, just to ensure that we do have access and that they're available for us.
And I'm glad you said that, because that was kind of my next question, is do we think 20 is enough? Because I know of some tournaments that, I mean, if you get 2-man scrambles, 4 teams per hole, that's 36 carts, and then you're going to need some additional ones for, you know, beer cart people and things like that. So I'm just making sure that 20 would be enough. But certainly, if they have that opportunity to lease us a few for the day or weekend, that's great.
And that cost would be a pass-through cost for the tournament. Of course, that's not a cost that we would anticipate eating for the course. But if we do need more in the future, I have no qualms about being able to order more, purchase more going forward should we decide down the road. Right now, there are a lot of our members or patrons who have their own carts, and some available nearby. So we should be okay. But again, we'll reanalyze as soon as we get to the top of the year.
Thank you.
Sure.
Is there indoor storage? I guess I haven't been out there for a while. Okay, there is indoor storage. Good.
Do you know on the maintenance agreements, do they pick up? Are we responsible for transport? If there's issues, do they do that on site? Do we know what that looks like across the options?
Yeah, sure. So the difference between the two options that I gave there for the pricing was, one of them is they just come in at one time during the year, during the winter season, and they just service all of the carts. The other option was that they can come in, they will basically call weekly, and if we have any carts down, they will come out within 2 days, that they'll come out, service those. It included maybe some replacement tires, and the parts and labor would be covered by that additional cost. The reality is, in the early years of a lease agreement, under the warranty piece of this, is that most of that would likely be covered under warranty. And so they would be doing the warranty work instead. So what we're looking at doing is structuring a maintenance agreement that maybe allows us to do years 1 and 2 under very general limited maintenance, and then maybe years 3 and 4 under the higher, more structured maintenance agreement, where they would be able to come out more often and frequently. At any rate, that we can do what we want to do with them. I am aware that there's also someone local that does work on the golf carts at the course now as well. So we have that option as well.
And I apologize, Director Landis. Did you say this was an annual agreement? Or is it multi-year?
So the maintenance agreement,
lease agreement.
The lease agreement is multi-year. So it'll be structured as a 4-year lease agreement. Okay. The way that we did the bid proposal was an annual cost, just to see if there was going to be any change or difference. We actually also asked them for a lump sum purchase price as well, in case we didn't necessarily love the pricing that came back and we wanted to go out and try and lease purchase this through our local banks. At this point, we haven't ventured down that path yet, but yeah, it would be a 4-year lease purchase and then the renewable maintenance agreement.
Thank you.
Any more questions on this topic?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Commissioner.
I'll make the motion to authorize city staff to complete negotiations and execute agreements related to the proposal from M&M Golf Cars LLC for the golf cart lease package.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
There's a second. Any other discussion on this? Not, let's have a roll call vote, please.
How do you vote, Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Allen,
Yes.
Commissioner Clayton,
Yes.
and Mayor Skidmore.
I vote yes too. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your work on that. Very good job. We'll move on to the project updates, review the current projects and updates from the last 30 days. And we have City Manager Silcott up.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, not much has changed since we presented last month. We still have the 3 identified upcoming projects, as well as the list that has recently been completed. The only item of note, which we will have forthcoming in a future presentation next month, will be the taxiway reconstruction design is now moved toward initiation of the construction process. So we'll give you a milestone calendar for that in the upcoming report. So that's the only real item of note. Again, the 2022 issuance and where we're at with those projects, which includes the completed OMA remodel. We're consolidating the OMA boiler with the HVAC here at City Hall. And due to the complexity of that, we're attempting to secure an environmental engineer as a project manager to assist us and represent the city in that undertaking, so that when contractors or submittals are presenting proposals, because the building has been amended, even when it was still a savings and loan over the way it was originally configured, we want to make sure that we have someone looking out for us as we go through that. It's just identifying the cost for something like that and if that's going to be something we can consider at that point in time. And then, of course, we've completed the security improvements here at City Hall and our law enforcement roof at the Law Enforcement Center. Now, you'll notice that there's been significant improvement on progress with the playground equipment. And if you've checked the social media page within the last 24 hours, you'll notice that there's some good aerial shots of the new surface that's been applied to that as well. And so I'm looking forward to presenting this one more time next month, and hopefully it'll be in full use at that time. Our water tower project's continuing. The only real item of note is that we've completed the fencing and are in progress of the site restoration for the surface there with the seating and the overlay. And now we're just waiting for the pump configuration components to kick in, so that then we can advance down that path for actually making this useful. But that's going to be down the road, so we're looking well into 2025 before that can occur. And this is our generator funds that we are using for the water facility. And so it took forever, but we finally did get KDHE approval on that. And so now we're in the supply chain molasses that seems to slow everything down. And then the Pin Oak lift station, you'll notice that this was the project that we accelerated into this year because we could create a sizable savings for the project cost by accelerating it this year as opposed to next year, which was its original programming. And we did do a slight change order to amend the color to go from the more of that institutional green to the surrounding area, which is that beige color. And then we're still waiting for the arrival of our 2600 residential meters for our AMI upgrade. But once that arrives, we're looking at going, full force. Our current inventory is being installed at a rate of about 50 new electric meters, per week. But that kind of ebbs and flows. But on average, that's about where we're at. And so we thank Ed and Bob and our utility crews for their work on that, as well as Bob in finance, who also helps coordinate that and keep those up to date. And want to take this time also to show some appreciation for the warehouse crews that are keeping this in order and are taking the time to inspect things when they arrive, so that we can ensure that our public dollars are being well spent. And as you know, we had received an order, but it wasn't what we had actually ordered. So rather than actually unload it and have to load it and wait, we were able to turn it away at that time. The phase 3 meters are in process, so nothing new to report here, but it's important to delineate that these are for the commercial meters, and then will require coordination with those businesses to do the installations once they do arrive. And that also may require some coordination and some light engineering work as well, depending upon what that current load factor is for how those will be installed. Our water treatment plant study is 90% complete, and we should be receiving that at any time. And then our commission chambers renovation and technology modernization is also underway. So we're still in the design phase, but looking forward to implementing that going forward. And we'll be having our commission meetings in a different location and in the adjacent room, the smaller room, as needed. Are there any questions for myself or a member of the team regarding any of the projects that we covered?
Questions? I guess not on that. We'll go on right to your comments by the city manager now.
Thank you. And want to point out that we currently have 3 positions in title that are vacant. We're hiring at our electric plant. So if anyone's aware of mechanically inclined or perhaps some diesel mechanics or individuals maybe retiring or separating from the Navy or Coast Guard who may have some diesel and electric equipment experience, the power plant would be a good position. We are also in the process of reviewing applications and structuring our interview process for the general manager golf pro at the golf course, and we're hiring firefighter EMTs currently. Want to invite everyone to tomorrow's comprehensive plan update for Chapter 2. That'll be here at City Hall from 6 to 8. So if you're interested in land use and the demographics of our area and how development and growth impacts that, please come on down. Want to remind everyone too that Friday and Saturdays are cleanup. So we'll be having 3 locations for individuals to drop off things that we might have need to dispose of. We'll have it at our Franklin County Recycling Center there in the 2000 block of South Elm, the west parking lot directly across the street from City Hall on Hickory, and the salt storage shed there at the 1300 block of North Cherry, which is also the only location where tires may be disposed of. Now, We will not be accepting any TVs, computers, microwaves, batteries, or liquids, but if you do have flammable liquids or chemicals that you need disposed of, you're a taxpayer of Franklin County, and Franklin County provides the wonderful service of taking those with appointment. So you can drop those off by appointment at the recycling center there, just that building immediately to the north of where all the cardboard separation and sorting locations are located. And here's an aerial map of each of the 3 locations, including our South Elm, the west parking lot across the street from City Hall, and the North Cherry location where salt sand facility is at. A reminder that we will not be having a meeting next week, as it is the 5th meeting, and business will then return on Wednesday the 6th at 7 p.m. here at City Hall.
Very good.
And then our tentative agenda items for that meeting will be an update on our service line warranty program, the golf course management transition plan, and then I think this is the largest ordinance to date or on record that the city attorney and the city clerk have been drafting, which is layered in case law, and it's something that I know consumed a large part of my public law curriculum way back in the Stone Age of the 90s during my city manager program. So I'm sure it's only gotten more complicated since then even. So you'll be reviewing that for review and comment and consideration at a future meeting. And then our Encode upgrade and MIH applications, which we received one at the on the deadline date. So that concludes my my comments. If there are,
I think I did read on the 6th of November, is our picture day, so we need to be here at 6:30. Is that, I remember right? Is that
Yes.
6:30, so, all right.
Thank you for remembering
I just
that.
see that when I think about that. Good. Okay, anybody more questions of the city manager?
Thank you.
I think it's not. Thank you. Let's go on to comments by our commission. Let's start with Commissioner Crowley.
Just want to say a public congratulations to Commissioner Clayton for your marriage, and to let all the ladies know he's off the market now. So, sorry.
I am sorry.
Not about the marriage. You're
No,
just
no, no,
sorry.
no, yeah.
Let me help you.
Just,
Let me help you.
Yeah, that was good. That was.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
5 days in, so.
We can back this up.
Yeah,
5
yeah,
10
exactly.
seconds.
Can you cut that, please, IT? Yeah.
Very good. All right. Yeah, congratulations. Commissioner Clayton, I guess you're up next.
Well, yeah, I will follow that, and I'll try to pull it back in. Since we don't have a meeting next week, I definitely want to wish all the kids and teens and families and adults a safe Halloween. Not this weekend, but the coming weekend, almost when you're driving. Be sure to be on the lookout for kids, especially at dusk, and work with people crossing the street. Shout out again to the staff and our community partners for all of the information. The reports are looking awesome. It's so much more digestible now, I think, with the visuals and everything like that. Reading through them is a lot quicker. Invite everyone to do that. And then, yeah, on the marriage, I guess, yeah, I would say that she's lucky to have me, but maybe I'm the one who's really lucky to have her. If anyone listening or here knows me, I think they would agree. And so hopefully that makes up for putting my foot in my mouth a minute ago. But 5 days in, we're all learning, right? So shout out to her.
That's great. Okay, Commissioner Kaler.
You'll continue to learn. Yes. So, no other report.
No, okay. Pro Tem Allen.
I have no comment.
And I'll just say to this too, for most of those guys, it's always better to marry above yourself, like I did, and so I'm sure Eric did the same. So that's good. Anytime you can marry above yourself like that, you can't lose. So
I did. I picked my coverage. So.
You did good on that. All right, and I want to say congratulations to our high school football team. We haven't mentioned that up here, but they're doing really well. They only lost one game, I believe, or two maybe. But anyway, they're looking really good, and that's been a rare moment for us to be able to say that up here. The high school football team's doing well, but congratulations to them, and many, many more success stories to come. Well, let me look at the announcements and go. November 6th, of course, will be our next commission meeting. We're going to be here at 6:30. November 13th will be a city commission meeting at 4, and of course, November 20 would be at 10 a.m. And we are needing an executive session. Counselor, want to recite what that will read like?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I'm requesting a 10-minute executive session for the purpose of attorney-client privileged communication to receive confidential and privileged communication from the board's attorney. I would ask that we have the board, the city manager, the finance director, and myself present, that we reconvene in this room at, looks like it'll be 4:55.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good. And we are in recess.